Hello there, Rangers, and welcome to another Power Rangers Dino SuperCharge episode review. I'm recording this review on Super Bowl Sunday, so I decided to dress appropriately, even if my Miami Dolphins aren't in the big game. And I'd like to extend my congratulations to for their thrilling defeat of in the big game. Congratulations. So, this year's annual cold and flu bug seems to have hit me about 3 episodes early, as you can probably hear from my voice. But fortunately, I seem to be recovered enough to do this review. But just like when I got sick last season, I'm just going to give you guys the core review today. Besides, I'm pretty sure the bad guys are still Silver Skull King over their last defeat. Huh? Let's get right into it then, taking a look at the second episode of Dino SuperCharge, Forgive and Forget. The episode starts with this season's every episode standard intro story narration. The thing is, the narrator refers to the team as Dino SuperCharge, but I don't think they're actually called that. These are still the Dino Charge Power Rangers. Only the Super Megaforce Rangers changed names based on the powers they were using. Riley told you guys I was sick. Heckle has been hired at the cafe and on his way into work reminds us that he's evil by playing a couple of pranks. Riley is the waiter and goes to take an order only to see that it's Bert, his old rival from high school. Bert is a jerk and all but says, "Fight me, bro," challenging Riley to arm wrestling. Riley, acting slightly out of character, decides to use his Energem to show Bert a thing or two. Too bad for him, Kendall snaps him out of it and sends him back to work. Heckle then begins transforming and runs into the kitchen to hide, sending Chase after a girl. Snide takes over, and we see that just like Heckle's pocket watch, Heckle can talk to Snide from inside his sword. Snide returns to the ship and sees the villains hard at work on a plan Heckle had started. They reanimated Stingrage, more on that in just a second, and modified his venom. They're able to milk the stingers, and they plan to use the venom to make anyone who drinks it forget their memories. Snide thinks this is a stupid plan and starts working on his own. Alright, last week I mentioned that it was kind of clever mentioning the Reanimator and then using Ice Age, but that Ice Age actually hadn't been destroyed. Then this week they used Stingrage, the other monster that hadn't been destroyed, but they specifically mentioned reanimating him. Whoops. I mean, come on, I remember this stuff. Why can't they? Did Albert somehow destroy them despite not having his powers after capturing them? Kendall tells the Rangers that she's made a new charger, Super Dino Drive. Gold Charger is shiny. Anyway, Riley is out being fit when he runs into Bert once again. And once again, acting out of character, he challenges Bert to a race over a wall after Bert continues being a jerk. He decides once again to use his Energem, but he either overdoes it or it decides to teach him a lesson and he flies into a tree. Heckle helps Riley up, being all buddy-buddy with the Rangers in this form. He tells Riley that he should enter the Amber Beach Marathon to show Bert up. But then Stingrage attacks, acting on Snide's plans. It's so fun to see two halves of the same character interfering with each other's plans. But Heckle calls a quick audible, deciding that he can use Snide's plan. When Stingrage takes a shot at Riley, Heckle dives in front and takes the stinger himself. The other Rangers show up, Shelby and Tyler getting demorphed before they can chase the monster off. Having taken a shot for Riley and seeing who the Rangers are, they decide to take him to their base to help him out. Kendall is really anxious about this, but does agree to let him in, and he sees the T-Rex head entrance and everything else. The Rangers cure him, which brings him back to his normal self, and he learns everything about the base. The next time we see him, he's back on the ship. Snide can't believe that he didn't take any of the Energems, but he explains that that would have been a fight with all of the Rangers at once. Fury and Stingrage head to the lake dam to use a watering can that's very familiar to the fans of the Sentai to put venom in the town's water supply. At the marathon, Heckle offers Riley a glass of water, but of course Riley's got his own specially formulated sports drink. Seeing Bert at the start line, Riley's tempted to use his Energem power once again, but decides that he wants to win this race on his own. Which kind of rendered this entire plot point virtually pointless. It was out of character, as I said, for Riley to be doing this, but he never actually decided that it was wrong. He just decided that he wanted to win this race by himself. And why was his Energem okay with him doing this? They usually raise a fuss when a ranger acts out of character. The other rangers are set up at the water table, Tyler, Coda, and Chase encouraging Riley with their #RangerFit physiques. But apparently Riley was the only runner that preferred his own drink to the city water, as all the other runners drink the water and promptly forget what they were doing. The other rangers also drink some of the water and forget themselves. Heckle goes to Coda and tells him that he's a friend, taking his Energem. The Energem resonates for Heckle, which is interesting to say the least. Why would the Energems shine for Heckle? But before he can take off with it, Riley shows up and snatches it. He doesn't suspect Heckle, who did take a stinger for him, thinking that he was just gathering the Energems for safekeeping. Kendall makes a super concentrated version of the antidote to spray over the city with the Plesiozord. Riley takes some of the antidote and cures the other rangers. Thanks for that 5-minute plot cul-de-sac, as Linkara would say, and they set out to help the other runners. Riley, of course, helps Bert, and it humbles him. Bert was always really jealous of Riley's smarts. Really cheesy Power Rangers quick wrap-up, everybody friends now, yay plot! With Kendall spraying down the city and all the other rangers helping the runners, Heckle returns to the empty base. However, Riley had already taken the Energems and given them back to the Rangers, so that plan failed. This causes Snide to take over, and being totally loose in the Rangers' base, he proceeds to leave, deciding to stick to Heckle's venom plan. Kendall cures the city, but sees Stingrage adding more venom to the water. Really, it's the same footage, and he never actually moved, but anyway, Kendall tells Tyler that Dino Armor X now works with the red Energem. Because of course it does. They go to take on the monsters, with Ivan taking on Fury one-on-one again. When a 5-way Dino Morpher Blast does nothing, Chase tells Tyler to use that beautiful orange charger. Tyler gators up and spins through Stingrage's shell, which lets the other 4 Rangers finish him off with a 4-way Dino Saber final strike. He falls into the lake and gets Magna Beamed all big-like. The Rangers decide to change it up with the Megazord a little bit, going Pararaptor formation, and Tyler decides it's time to use Super Dino Drive. This gives him a new weapon, the Super Dino Saber, and gives all the Rangers a new form, with even more spikes than Dino Drive, and especially ditching the mouthpiece off of the helmets. But otherwise, it's really just another toy gimmick, as it doesn't affect the Megazord footage at all. Apparently, it can power up the Megazord finishers, as the Super Dino Saber can take 5 chargers, and the Rangers use it for a more powerful Parazord Fireball finish. And let me tell you folks, Fireball can definitely take you down. You gotta be careful with that stuff. This episode does not end well. Heckle wants a toast to celebrate their upcoming charge to the Rangers' base, but the only thing that Curio can find to fill the glasses is the watering can with the toxin in it. It makes them forget their plan, and quite possibly Heckle forget where the base is. It's actually kind of weird that that's all they forget, since this was the full-strength toxin. But other than that, that was a really cheap, quick MMPR-style wrap-up to this threat. Meanwhile, Bert and Riley arrive at the finishing line of the marathon and have a cute little bickering over who should actually finish last, and my DVR cut this off and I didn't really care. Let's dig up some super fossils! Episode 2, Forgive and Forget. Pros: excellent crafting of a story with various bits of Sentai and original footage. Dino SuperDrive looks good, and I like Riley being the nerd and the jock. Cons: Riley's behavior is a little odd for most of the episode, Dino SuperDrive is also really gimmicky, and the moral was a bit cheesy. I have just a few too many gripes with this episode to give it a perfect score. Forgive and Forget gets 4.5 super fossils out of 5. The first 2 episodes of SuperCharge have been really creative in using up some Sentai footage while crafting original and interesting stories. It's kind of paying the piper for all the original footage we got early on in Dino Charge, but they're still making it work really well. I have to say that I like the look of the Dino SuperDrive suits. They just scream animal and fierce with all of those spikes, and especially the removal of the mouthpiece from the helmets. Now, I usually actually like mouthpieces on helmets, but removing them from these makes it look entirely like a dinosaur mouth, open, roaring, and fierce. And it's a testament to the writing of the show that in Riley we have a character who is both the nerd and the jock. Those 2 character types actually work together in one surprisingly well. For example, I had absolutely no trouble believing that Riley came up with his own perfectly engineered, exactly modified sports drink, or at the very least super researched all the various options and picked the best one. It gives Riley a lot of potential storylines and makes him a much more complex character. However, Mr. Griffin was not quite feeling himself today. Using your Energem power to save someone is one thing. Using it to show up a jerk is the very definition of using your powers for personal gain. Of course, not his ranger powers, but he only has Energem power because he's a ranger. This was just a really weird subplot in this episode, especially because it never resolved. Like I said, he didn't decide that it was wrong, he just decided to stop doing it. The moral of the story was a bit cheesy and really reminded me of some past seasons. As a matter of fact, thinking about it, this plot reminds me a lot of both of the past dinosaur seasons. It's the kind of cheesy, easy plot that we saw a lot in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and that exact plot was used in an episode of Dino Thunder. In the end, I guess it's just a kid's show thing, and it's something that I just have to accept now and then. However, the biggest sin of this episode was something that I've actually already praised: Super Dino Drive. I am officially fed up with this only in the cockpit, just made to sell action figures, no impact on the Zord footage power-up mode. You've done this already with these characters. Dino Drive was just fine, but you had to go and double down. And yes, I realize that this does give us the explanation for the word super in this season's title. I can already hear the keyboards clicking in response. Power Rangers is a 24-minute toy commercial. Yes, I know. However, the show sells toys no matter what. The Rangers get figures, sometimes the villains get figures, unless that villain is female, and yes, Bandai of America, I am throwing shade at you. Get on that Poisandra figure. The Zords, the weapons, the show generates plenty of toys with its own footage, demonstrated clearly by the fact that the Sentai has its own toy line. I just don't find it necessary to milk the show for more toy money by introducing another power-up mode that only serves the story to a very small degree and only exists so you can buy an action figure of it. Don't get me wrong, it's better for it to be in the show than those super ugly non-canon toys that we see every year. But it just rings hollow to me. Give it more of an impact. Make it show up in the Zord footage. It's just really frustrating to see the Zord footage be exactly the same while hearing the Rangers Weekly go, "Wow, I can really feel the power increase from this new mode." But overall, this was a really great episode, nearly a 5. Consider the half a point this episode lost something of a toll for the show to keep using Super Dino Drive. This is the only time I'll deduct for it, so there we are. And besides, if I'm nitpicking like this, it means the show is still doing great work and only making little tiny mistakes. This week's viewer comment goes to Azzy Fox, who points out that the opener of SuperCharge contains a very interesting shoulder. A shoulder that kind of hints at something I've been saying for a while anyway. Thanks for commenting. Let's take a look at what's in store for next week's episode, Nightmare in Amber Beach. Shelby receives a pillow from an unknown sender. When she uses it to take a nap, she starts living a nightmare. The Rangers suspect that this must be from Snide, so they all make sure to stay awake, but that proves to be harder than they thought. Thank you guys so much for watching another Power Rangers Dino SuperCharge episode review. I really appreciate it. Sorry about any fluctuations in my voice, still trying to fight this bug off. Make sure to click that like button right down below to let me know that you liked it. You can leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of this episode, and I will be featuring a random comment in next week's video. And subscribe to the channel to see my Power Rangers Dino SuperCharge reviews every week. And of course, until next time, may the power protect you. The episode starts with this season's annual... Bert is a jerk and all but says, "Fight me, bro!" challenging Riley to arm wrestling. Riley... Well... it's gonna happen. Told you guys I was sick. But of course, Riley's got his own specially formulated sports drink. That last line just won't memorize. As all the other runner farts! With Kendall spraying down the city and the other... When a five-way Dinomorpher blast does nothing, Chase tells Tyler to use that beautiful orange charger. Tyler farts! Dino Armor X farts on all of you. Apparently it can power up the finishing moves as the Dino Supers. This is Super Dino Mega Super Dino Force Mega Dino Super Mega Buy the Toy Sword thing. I have to say that I like the look of the Dino Superdrive suits. They just scream animal and fierce with all of the spikes, and especially the removal of the mouthpiece from However, the show sells toys just fine on its own. The Zords, the weapons, the show generates plenty of toys with its own footage. Squeak is distracting me. The Zords, the weapons, the show generates plenty of toys with its own footage, demonstrated clearly by the fact that the Sentai has its own toy line. Consider the half a point this episode lost something of a toll for the show to continue using Dino Superdrive. Except that it's Super Dino Drive. Comment on it, and remember that I'll be doing that comments. Thank you guys so much for watching another Power Rangers Dino SuperCharge episode review. I really appreciate it. Sorry that if my voice had any hammers and the chocolate burgers and the super sauce. Make sure to leave a comment, and damn it, I need to think this out. Okay.